Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt awe, sensing you're part of something vast? Ancient songs like Psalm 99 try to capture that wonder. They speak of a power guiding the universe, a king unlike any earthly ruler whose reign is built on justice and holiness. This psalm's message is universal, inviting everyone to consider what it means to live under a just authority. It asks, what holds our world together? What principles should guide us? The answer, recognizing a higher power, a force for good that is both mighty and merciful. Psalm 99 paints a world where the earth trembles in awe, not fear, and nations recognize a common source of truth. This king is exalted, not for military might but for perfect justice and unwavering holiness. The psalm invites us to join a chorus of praise that spans time and place. As we explore this ancient text, we'll see what it means for God to be king, why justice matters, and what we can learn from Moses, Aaron, and Samuel. This psalm is more than words. It's a guide for building a better world. It calls us to respect, reverence, and a deep appreciation for all that is good and holy. Let's begin this journey together. We'll discover how these ancient words still speak to our lives today. What does it mean to live with reverence and justice? How can we build communities that reflect these values? Let's find out. The psalm opens with a bold truth: the Lord reigns. These three words carry the weight of the cosmos. Imagine the universe as a vast kingdom. This king is its ultimate ruler. The psalm says, "Let the nations tremble, not in terror but in awe." It's the feeling you get before something truly magnificent. This divine kingship challenges our ideas of power. Earthly rulers rise and fall, but this kingship is eternal, unlimited by borders or time. The king is enthroned between cherubim, symbols of majesty and presence. This is a spiritual authority, the source of order and stability. Why does this matter? In a world of many nations and beliefs, the idea of one king reigning over all can seem strange. But don't we all long for peace, justice, and connection? The psalm suggests these universal desires point to a single universal source. It asks us to look past our differences and see our common ground. When the psalm says, "Let the earth be shaken," it's an invitation to shift our perspective. Shake off limited views, open your mind to a grander purpose. Every person, every nation, every part of creation is held within the care of a just and loving king. This isn't about political submission but spiritual alignment. It's an invitation to find our place in a universe filled with meaning and purpose. The Lord's reign is a foundation for hope. It's a call to recognize a higher order at work. We're invited to participate in this kingdom of justice and love. The psalm's opening lines set the stage for everything that follows. They remind us we are part of something greater, and that changes everything. The psalm brings cosmic kingship down to earth, focusing on a place, Zion or Jerusalem. The Lord is great in Zion, exalted over all nations. In ancient times, Zion was the meeting point of heaven and earth, the center of worship. For the people, it was where the divine and human worlds touched. Today, the idea of a holy place still matters. We find the sacred in forests, cities, families, wherever people gather for a higher purpose. Zion symbolizes that the sacred is not distant, it's present in our communities. It's where we strive for justice, share knowledge, and support one another. The Psalm's mention of Zion reminds us our spiritual lives are woven into our daily lives. We're called to build holy spaces and righteous communities here and now. God's throne in Zion is a beacon of moral and spiritual light. It's not about domination but about setting a standard for justice and righteousness. Every society is invited to look to these divine principles as their guide. The values of Zion, justice, righteousness, holiness, are for all nations. The psalm calls us to make our communities places where the sacred is honored. That's how heaven touches earth. After establishing God as king, the psalm calls us to respond. Let them praise your great and awesome name. He is holy. In ancient times, a name represented a person's essence. To praise God's name is to celebrate all that God is: powerful, just, merciful, and holy. The word holy is repeated 3 times in this short psalm. Holiness means set apart, utterly unique. God's holiness is both awe-inspiring and humbling. Praising this name is an act of humility, recognizing something greater than ourselves. In our world we praise human achievement, but the psalm reminds us to praise the source of all goodness. This act of praise orients our lives, reminding us what truly matters. It's not a burden, but an invitation to joy. When we praise what is good, we move toward it. When we honor holiness, we're inspired to live better lives. The psalm teaches, what you praise, you become. By praising a holy God, we cultivate greatness, awe, and holiness in ourselves and our communities. Praise is transformative. It shapes our character and our world. The Psalms' call is simple. Lift your eyes, lift your voice, and let your life reflect the holiness you honor. In doing so, we join a chorus that spans generations. We become part of something eternal. That is the heart of worship. The psalm now highlights a defining trait of this king. He loves justice. Unlike rulers who use power for self-interest, this king's might upholds what is right. Justice isn't just tolerated, it's cherished. The psalm says, "You have established equity. You have worked justice and righteousness in Jacob." Justice and equity are not abstract ideals. They're lived out in action. A just society is a divine ideal, not just a human invention. When we fight for fairness, we reflect the character of the universe's king. Our pursuit of justice is a sacred calling. Every act of fairness, every stand for the oppressed, is an act of worship. The psalm challenges us. Have we established equity? Are we working for justice? It sets a high divine standard for our communities. Justice is not optional, it's the foundation of a holy life. The king who loves justice calls us to do the same. The psalm introduces Moses as an example. Moses led the Israelites out of slavery and received the Ten Commandments. He spoke with God directly, bringing divine guidance to his people. Moses' leadership was rooted in justice and righteousness. He established laws that shaped a just community. His story reminds us, true leadership listens to a higher call and acts for the good of all. Moses' legacy lives on in every struggle for freedom and justice. He shows that one person, guided by a divine purpose, can change the world. Leadership is service, building a society on justice and compassion. Next, the psalm mentions Aaron, Moses' brother and the first high priest. Aaron's role was to bridge the gap between a holy God and imperfect people. He oversaw rituals of forgiveness and reconciliation. Even after his own failures, Aaron was restored and served as high priest. His story shows that leadership requires mercy and the humility to seek forgiveness. A just society must also be a merciful one. We see Aaron's spirit in counselors, restorative justice, and every act of forgiveness. Holiness isn't about perfection, it's about grace and second chances. Aaron teaches us the power of compassion and the need for healing. Justice and mercy must go hand in hand. That's the heart of a holy community. The third figure is Samuel, prophet and judge. Samuel listened for God's voice and spoke truth to power. He held leaders accountable, reminding them of justice and righteousness. Samuel's courage shows the importance of a prophetic voice in every society. Faith isn't passive. It challenges injustice and calls us to our highest ideals. Today, Samuel's spirit lives on in those who speak out for truth and justice. Calling on God means listening for guidance and bravely sharing it. Every community needs law, forgiveness, and a voice that calls it back to its best self. The psalm brings these stories to a powerful close. They called on the Lord and he answered them. Faith is a dialogue, not a monologue. Moses, Aaron, and Samuel called out and received answers. The pillar of cloud symbolized God's guiding presence. When we seek guidance, it will be provided with authority and care. The psalm balances forgiveness and consequences. God forgives, but actions have results. Mercy and accountability go hand in hand. Like a loving parent, God restores the relationship but allows us to learn from our mistakes. This is not contradiction, it's growth. The psalm teaches, grace is always available, but our choices matter. We are called to take responsibility, yet never lose hope in mercy. This understanding gives us courage to act and comfort when we fail. The stories of Moses, Aaron, and Samuel show that God hears and responds. Our faith is alive, a living relationship. We are never alone in our struggles. The King who reigns over all is also near and attentive. That is the hope at the heart of the psalm. We are heard. The psalm ends with a call to action. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his holy mountain, for the Lord our God is holy. This is the so what of the psalm. We're called to lift up what is good and live with reverence. Worship means orienting our lives toward justice, mercy, and holiness. We build our own holy mountains, families, communities, nations that reflect the divine King. Worship is not just ritual, it's a way of life. We exalt God by loving justice, establishing equity, offering forgiveness, and speaking truth. The psalm's final word, for the Lord our God is holy. That's the foundation for everything. We pursue justice because God is just. We practice mercy because God is merciful. This ancient song invites us to build a world that reflects holiness. Let our lives be praised through our actions, choices, and commitment to what is good and true.